The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is a decades-long fight between the nation of Israel and the Palestinian people. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is an ongoing quarrel between the nation of Israel and the people of Palestine. The conflict is over a multitude of issues, including control of the Temple Mount, the location of Israeli settlements, the restriction of Palestinian movement in Israeli-occupied territories, and the right of Palestinians to return to the land that is being occupied by Israel. The conflict first began when the UN declared Israel a nation in 1948. The Palestinians were extremely angered by this because they do not recognize Israel as a nation and believe it should not exist. Shortly after the announcement of Israel's nationhood, Palestine attacked Israel. Israel defeated Palestine and took the lands in the West Bank that they still occupy until this day. Since Israel seized those territories, the conflict has continued through smaller, violent attacks between the two sides. Each time one side attacks, they claim it is retaliation against the other, and this excuse will likely carry on the conflict for a long time. One of the many aspects of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is control of the Temple Mount. This aspect of the conflict relates and is important to the conflict as a whole because it is the source of many disputes and arguments between the Israelites and the Palestinians.
The Temple Mount is very important to this conflict because of the importance of centralization of worship, which is the Jewish belief that all worship of Yahweh should be done in one place. This place is the Temple Mount. The reason that centralization of worship became such a big theme of the Jewish faith is that it helped the ancient Israelites focus on worshiping only one God, Yahweh. In the past, the ancient Israelites worshipped many gods other than Yahweh. Yahweh got very upset and angry and punished them. Part of the reason that control of this site is so disputed is that there are many arguments for and against both sides having control. The main argument is that the Temple Mount is a central place of worship for both sides. For the Israelites, it is their main place of worship. Although it is not the Palestinians' main site of worship, it is still one of their top places of worship. Jewish people had control over this land around the Temple Mount for a very long time. Why should anyone but the Jewish people have control over the Temple Mount and the land around it if they've had it for this long? On the other hand, the temple is mostly controlled by Muslims. The Palestinians are mostly Muslims. Since the Palestinians have most of the control of the temple, they should be able to keep the temple since they have it. This conflict between Israel and Palestine is perhaps the hardest conflict to resolve in the world, and perhaps even the history of the world. Both sides have a lot of propaganda that can twist the truth and make it harder to see what is really going on. With this conflict, there are a lot of biased perspectives. Almost anyone you ask, or any article you go to, there are many different perspectives on the conflict. Some people are against the Israelites, while some are against the Palestinians. This conflict has existed for a long time and will probably exist for many years in the future. We can all only hope that it will be resolved somewhere in the near future.